back with more legal insight from Peterson Law Office.
Literally, he has an office right here because he's here all the time. I'm kidding. We love Justin. So it's always great to see our friend Justin Peterson in the studio. Justin, we have a topic to cover for you today. We've been talking a lot about the roadways, talking a lot about weather-related situations. I mean, we've been seeing a lot of debris in the road and talking about some of those one-way streets. And so I've even noticed lately we've been talking a lot about like DeLong Road. Let's just say specifically having a hard time traveling and navigating that road. Let's say it's a one-lane road, icy conditions, slushy conditions, water. It can cause for some problems. Who is at fault? Let's say someone's traveling and they slid off the roadway. Is it that person's fault?
Yeah, so let me give you an example, kind of using that example, right? Let's say a driver's driving too fast for conditions, right? And they drive off the roadway, whether it's because of, something, debris in the road, whatever it might be. Well, if that driver is not complying with standard of care, driving too quickly, that driver is probably responsible for any passengers in their car that might get injured. As it relates to debris in the roadway, unless you can track, where did that debris come from? Like, did it fall off a semi truck, or did something happen? Did someone drop a barrel in the road? Which we have been able to track, but it's rare. You can't do it. Then yes, that vehicle can be liable because they weren't loaded correctly or they didn't do a pre-trip inspection correctly. The other thing that we see is how roadways are laid, how roadways are constructed. So every roadway in Kentucky that's being constructed is going to be approved and designed by roadway engineers with the State Department, right? The Department of Highways in Kentucky. And when those roads aren't constructed appropriately, then there may be a claim against the roadway contractor for not doing their job correctly.
It's a holiday season coming up with Thanksgiving and Christmas.
That's true.
People will have social gatherings and parties. Alcohol may or may not be involved. What kind of liability? I'm a homeowner. I'm hosting a party. There may be some young people there that come along with their families. There's alcohol. Where am I at liability-wise?
You can. So first thing in Kentucky is places that are licensed to distribute alcohol can have what's called dram shop liability, and that is if you're a license and you overserve somebody, then you can be responsible for the resulting damage that occurs, right? So you serve someone too much, they get in a car wreck and they, excuse me, they hurt somebody, they're liable for that. So it's dram shop liability. As a homeowner, going to your question, it goes to, there's no dram shop liability for that, but there is potentially negligence. And so if you overserve someone in your home and they go and hurt someone, then arguably you can be at fault for that. Now, if someone was to take your alcohol, like a younger person, you don't know about it, then certainly you would have defenses. And those defenses would be, I locked my liquor up, I had no reasonable expectation they were going to take these things. But however, what I tell everybody is be careful, have rides for people, especially if you're going to throw a wedding or if you're going to throw some big event, really have protections in place. And for events, you can go to your homeowner's carrier and you can get riders for those events too, to make sure you're safe as well. So what we do for a lot of people that we represent is we'll go look at their insurance coverage. Is this appropriate for what you're doing? Because I did defense work for the first 8 years of my practice, and so I've read all these policies. I know what you can get, and so we'll talk about those things. So if you're throwing an event, especially a big event where you're going to be serving alcohol, and it's your alcohol that you buy that you're serving to others, ask your carrier about that so you can get a rider.
Absolutely. And I know we've been talking about children, of course, talking about teenagers as well. So as we jump into that, children are now allowed to travel and drive at 15, which is blowing my mind. Is that not crazy? Do you have any advice for maybe some parents who, their children, fall break is coming up? Do we have any advice for them?
Pray hard.
I know, right?
So one, make sure they are covered. I had a case recently where a young man was not at fault in the wreck, but they had not added him to their policy. He was 16-year-old driver. He gets hit by a drunk driver, unfortunately, which is all our worst nightmare, right? And, there's a property damage issue in that case for their own insurance because he wasn't listed. So number one, a lot of people I've seen forget that. Go add any drivers in your home that are new drivers, go make sure they are added to your policy. It's not something you think about every day. It's something the lawyers think about every day because we're boring. But go figure that out. And that's number one. Make sure they're insured. And then two, just do what you can do to make sure they're driving safe, right?
And pray a lot.
And pray a lot.
You've got a teenager.
Yes, I do. He can't remember to brush his teeth. He cannot drive my car. Okay. Thank you so much, Justin.
All right.